game? Make a game! What a game! What a game! I'm a Kamen Rider.
What's up, everybody? It's the Quarter Guy. Sorry I didn't get this back yesterday, but I was just couldn't find time for myself to actually get this out. Well, I can't really excuse myself for that, but last week Microsoft put out their Xbox Series X gameplay thing, and by gameplay I mean pretty much looks like almost all of it was trailers with very little actual in the area of gameplay. I've actually got the whole list right there of games that were shown off. Let's see, first off there was, before I get into that, there was also the thing that Series X is touting, that being smart delivery. Basically the idea, for those of you who don't know, is you buy it on one Xbox platform and you're able to play it on every platform that it's for on the Xbox line. At least that's what I think it is. I could be wrong, but first game they showed off was Bright Memory Infinite by a group called Playism. I'm not that familiar with their work, but from what I saw, it's this semi-futuristic, semi-fantasy FPS that also has swords and a grappling hook and vehicle sections. Apparently, from what they said in the presentation, it was done largely by one man. We're seeing a few more of those kinds of games, the ones that are made by largely one person. I mean, Dust, most of Undertale, and now something like this. The graphics look kind of pretty, but that's probably one of the few gameplay trailers that actually has gameplay in it. Next we had Dirt 5 from Codemasters, the latest in their racing game series. Scorn, this weird horror-themed creature game with this weird aesthetic and looks rather unsettling, not gonna lie. We got Chorus Rises 1 from Deep Silver, which it seems like it's this space sci-fi thriller sort of thing. Madden 21, EA, blah 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 blah. Same crap, different year. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 from Paradox Interactive. I kind of bet the trailer for that was rather off-putting, definitely disturbing. But then again, it's about vampires, so wouldn't be surprising to see disturbing stuff in it. Especially the Christmas scene. Next we have this really pretty looking stylized adventure game called Call of the Sea from this developer called Out of the Blue. How appropriate, Out of the Blue, Call of the Sea. Next we got this game called The Ascent, which looks like a sci-fi cyberpunk top-down shooter with co-op elements to it, so that was another one of the few gameplay trailers that actually had gameplay, so I appreciate that. Looks not too bad. Then we have this psychological horror game called The Medium, which shows scenes of both modern day and what seem to be post-apocalyptic events. Looks pretty weird, not gonna lie. Then we got Scarlet Nexus, which is one of the games that's confirmed to be multi-platform. It's a surreal anime-style action hack and slash from what I've seen. Apparently it's helmed up by one of the directors of the Tales of series, so that's definitely a plus there, considering the fun I've had with the Tales series. Second Extinction, which kind of looks like a mix of Left 4 Dead and Turok. Actually looks pretty cool. Then we had a trailer for Yakuza Like a Dragon from Sega, the latest in the popular series. From the trailer, you can tell that it seems to be going for a turn-based RPG. Looks pretty cool, actually. And finally, more info on the new Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, yet the latest series to delve into Norse mythology. Watch the next Kid Icarus game be called Kid Icarus Ragnarok or something like that. I'm gonna be honest here. While the presentation itself, as a whole, was kind of lackluster in my opinion, it's still more than what we've gotten so far from PlayStation 5. Their presentation was basically just a bunch of specs, numbers, and features that seem to be doing better on Xbox Series X, so Sony's gonna have to put up or shut up sometime really soon, otherwise all they're gonna be able to depend on is their fanboys. So I'm wondering, just what are we gonna really see out of this new generation, especially considering circumstances right now? Granted, I still have my Switch, and my PC, so I really probably won't be wanting for that much new. But I'm hoping to actually see something worth getting from either side at this point. Honestly, right now the Xbox Series X is looking better, but I am looking to see what PlayStation 5 will ultimately have to deliver the actual consumer. Specs and numbers really aren't going to cut it. We're going to need to see games. And at least we're seeing that from the Xbox Series X so far. That's kind of the edge they have right now. Interesting that we're seeing several new IPs from that. No doubt we'll see the big one that Xbox fans are waiting for, Halo Infinite. And hopefully Xbox Series X won't have the same pitfall that the Xbox One had, where a lot of its so-called exclusives ended up on PC later. Though I'm not holding my breath for that, not gonna lie, considering just what Microsoft is. Anyways, updates. Rough draft is done for my latest countdown, top 10 disasters in video games. And also, I'm sorry to have dropped this on you guys out of nowhere, but I have started a Let's Play of the Mega Man Zero ZX Legacy Collection. I do plan to do all 6 games. And I actually, for ZX Advent, I did do an off-screen playthrough of Expert Mode, so I get a certain particular scene that you don't want to see me play through Expert Mode just to get a scene. It's probably better that I just do the regular mode and tack on the Expert Mode ending after that, so that's going to be there. Also, for the ZX series, I am doing the Vent Ash playthrough, because I did a poll on Twitter.com asking which characters you'd like to see me do for each of those 2 games. The one for ZX was close, but the one for ZX Advent skewed heavily in favor of Ash. Because booty. Considering that, I decided to go with Vent for my ZX playthrough because he's the one who appears in Ash's playthrough of Advent. Anyways, cards up there to see the Let's Play. I highly recommend that you have a look at it. And for my question of the week, which system is looking better, Xbox Series X or PS5? As always, leave your answers in the comments. Favorite comments will be featured in the next episode. Here are last week's winners. And with that, time for the 4th wall mailbag. As always, place your questions in the community tab response, and I'll answer my favorites in the next episode. First question this week comes from Mind Flame Blade, who asks, since Heart Aino is in cross-tag battle, who else from the Arcana Heart series would you like added to the roster? Well, there's the obvious one, Saki being Heart's best friend and the quote-unquote rival character of the game, but she's probably the one who would be most likely to get in if we see another Arcana Heart character get in. Though, possibly very close to equally likely would be a few characters, including Petra, introduced in Arcana Heart 2, the gunslinger girl. Possibly Kamui, with her cool Time Blade Katana stuff, and possibly Vice and Charlocrat. Maybe Akane. Maybe a few others as well. But those are the ones who I think will be most likely. But at this point, I'm not sure when, if any, new characters will be added to cross-tag battle from this point. I'm not sure if the ones we got in 2.0 were the last ones. Maybe, I don't know. Could be, might not be. Okay, next question comes from YouTuber Zero the Aura Duelist, who asks, if there is one old Countdown you want to remake, then which one will you choose? Honestly, I think it would be my Castlevania Bosses Countdown. Probably because I have played Lords of Shadow since that time. I've had the review of it up for a few years now, and well, I did think the game overall is meh. There were a couple of bosses that kind of stood out there, so that's probably worth looking back at. Though I would have to probably actually play the Castlevania 64 games, in spite of the fact that I really wasn't a fan of them, to see if any bosses really stood out enough to really put on there. But that's probably where I'd go from there. Next question comes from TFFan102, who asks, when Capcom eventually makes Mega Man X9, do you think that it will be the last game in the X series, or there will be more afterward? Honestly, I am not sure. I could honestly see both happening. Probably if they decided to make this one the last in the X series, they'd probably find a way to connect it to the Elf Wars so that X7 through 9 would be officially canon, considering it was sort of non-canonized in some. I'm not quite sure if they're actually canon to the series, not if it's just a split timeline or what. But I do think that this. I do think the more likely option would be like that it would be like an end to the whole next-gen Reploid story arc with Axel. Though I do hope that if they make it a soft ending to the series, that the fact that what I mean by soft ending is that an ending that could potentially end the series, but would possibly leave the door open for more if they so chose. For example, Mega Man Star Force 3 was a soft conclusion to the series, and in fact, Capcom did have an idea for Star Force 4, but eventually it got cancelled before it really even got off the ground. A hard ending would be like Mega Man Battle Network, where the end of that pretty much wrapped up all the loose ends, so there was really no place to have a new sequel there. That's what I'm thinking there. Last question this week comes from YouTuber Matthew Stritmatter, who asks, if you wanted to buy more controllers for the Nintendo Switch, what controllers would you recommend? This bad boy right here.